Come on, very good. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Sunday night roundtable. There's a lot of invites out there, but right now I have Blue 823 and trees are blowing on here. Nothing set so far to start. For a subject, we're talking about deer hunting, so we may continue with that at least to start with, and see what happens.
Thanks, hats and
Yeah, okay, finally got it muted there. So anyway, I'll let Blue and Trees do a intro, and I'll start with Trees are blowing.
Well, thanks for having me, TR. Ain't got much going on. It's cold up here, snowing now. Supposed to get about 1 inch, 2 inches of snow tonight. So sorry my camera ain't working, but this way the people ain't got to look at my ugly mug.
That's all right. You know, as long as you're here, that's all that matters. And Blue 823, the mighty deer hunter.
Yeah, mighty deer hunter. Yeah. It's been an interesting last week or so. We've been having, I don't know, I've been hitting the woods a lot. Great. I mean, I don't know. The one day that I didn't even get a shot off, it was a video, but it was basically me driving to the farm and leaving the farm. That was the best freaking day out hunting. God, was that fun. So those are uploaded on my channel. You can check them out. I think right now there's 4 in the series. Headed back out tomorrow, which thankfully, well, I don't want to say thankfully, because that little gun mount that I used that I put my cell phone on, I think that thing took awesome video for what I was doing. But that ended up breaking. And I went out, and I think it's called a Vivitar Action Cam, and it's $80 at Walmart. Don't waste your money. So that's going to be my little word to the wise there. Don't waste your money on the cheaper $80 one. And then today I went and got I took the cheap one back, and I got an actual GoPro. So we're going to hit the woods tomorrow with the GoPro. Hopefully that will solve my problems, and we can get a shot on camera with a kill. I got a shot on camera, but I missed the kill part. So
hey, it's all good. You got the deer. That's the important thing.
Well, I missed a buck on, it was like the second day, I think. Might have been the third day. We wrapped up, or we dogged through the woods quite a bit, kicking things up, and we called it because it was a warm damn day. I mean, it was like 47, 50 degrees, something like that. And there was only about an hour and a half left in the day. And I was like, well, I'm going to go down to this one stand in the corner, which we had tromped the hell out of them woods all freaking day. And I got up in the stand, and I got the freaking camera on the end of the gun. I did a real quick panorama, you know, hey guys, this is going to be my view. Set my gun down, and within 20 minutes, I think it was either 4 or 5 doe walk through. And then we called him Whitey because it's a 6-point, but the rack is just super freaking white. But none of us had gotten a close enough look to see if it was legal or not. And I'm like, come on, turn your head so I can see if he had the brow tines or not. Well, he freaking looked at me in that big ass opening where it would have been a perfect shot. But where he looked at me, his head was just in the tree branches, so I still couldn't see the horns. And then whenever he went into a different area where it wasn't such a great shot, he looked away from me. And that's when I saw he was legal and took a pop shot at him. But yeah, didn't work out so well.
Yeah, I've missed a couple deer running shots. They don't never work right. First one I ever missed, it was a nice little, it was about a 4-point. I was hunting with a 41 mag Blackhawk pistol. I thought I let him enough, but I didn't. I went over and checked for blood, but the way he was running, I didn't even touch hair on him. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. We've been having like I said, the woods this year. Last year was a good year. I'll pull my rack down here in a minute, show anybody that might have missed it, but it was I think it was a nice 9-point. The first day, the brother-in-law got a nice 6. One of like a cousin, he's not my cousin, but it's her cousin. They call it only a 9-point. I call bullshit. I call it an 11-point because coming off the brow tines, like up off the base, there's two freaking little jags that come out like this. And I think they've upped it to it has to be an inch in order to count it for a horn. But whenever I started hunting, they said that it was as long as you could hang a ring on it, it counted. So I counted it as an 11, but they counted it as a 9. But those were 2 nice ones. And then the next property over from the farm, they got a nice 10 point. And I mean, we're just, oh man, that place is, it's doing real good. You know, when the first laws came out where they did the antler restrictions, where it had to have so many on one side and so many on the other. And if like, say you have a freaking rack come out and it's 2 on each side, you have no brow tines, it's not legal. You can't shoot that. It has to be, at least in my area, 3 on 1, 3 on one side. So, but I'll tell you, the deer are getting huge because they're getting bigger. They're maturing. So until doe season comes along and I shoot one the size of a dog, but you know.
It'd be good eating for you anyway.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Those are the tender ones.
Yep. I remember a deer story. He ain't out there yet, but he may show up. Buddy I worked with, he was talking about, he was with a bunch of guys. They was doing, you know, the deer camp hunting and stuff. And guy shot a deer. Guess he was just anxious. He said it's so damn small that when he had it hanging off his ATV, it wasn't even dragging. It was just like, you know, off the back. What the hell did you bring a little dog in here? What'd you shoot a dog for?
Yeah, well, since we're
still, the guy was like, I thought it was bigger.
Since we're still talking deer, this is the one. That's the one that I shot last year. Trying to figure out which way it goes. That was the one.
Now, what kind of age would you say that deer was?
This one, I would guess it was probably about 3. 4 would probably be pushing it a little bit on this one. But it's almost like you can almost tell like dogs because their muzzles start getting white and gray, and you know, you can just tell by their muscle mass. But the guy, the one that I'm calling the 11 point, I have never seen it before, and I thought that the deer was sick because it was. I mean, its rack was it was amazing. It was huge, but the deer itself, you could see the backbone, you could see the rear hips, and it was an older deer. But the way that the taxidermist explained it to us is because that deer was one of the bigger racks. It was probably, and an older deer. It was probably one of the more dominant deer that was in that local area, and it was just doing a bunch of fucking. And so it was literally, it had 0 fat on it, which that makes sense because, you know, that's what deer do. I mean, that's how they pass. That's all they know. They know to eat and reproduce to keep their genes going. So I don't know. We thought it was sick, but we thought it wasn't. Sorry. Hello. What's up? Remember that Budweiser commercial?
Yeah. Sorry about that. It's actually my alarm on my old phone. Since it don't have the SIM card, it's not updated on time, and the time's off. The alarm went off, let me know, hey, get your ass off the damn couch and get that chat started. Do you process your own deer or your group? Okay.
Yep. We and it's, I don't know, it's quick because the farm that we hunt on, and that they actually, you know, it's still up and operating. Now they have meat cows and meat goats, or no, meat sheep, chickens, pigs, that type of stuff. But it used to be a dairy farm. So they have this section of the barn that they call it the milk house. It's where they used to store the milk and stuff. So it's built into the ground a little bit, so it stays a little cooler than everywhere else. So we, you know, we take the hide, skin everything, and then we hang them. And we usually hang them. Like now, hell, we could probably hang them for a week if we wanted to because of the temperature. We hang them because it's just easier to get the meat off the bone and everything else. You know, once it, I don't want to say hardens up, but that's kind of what it does. And then we have grinders and everything else out there. The only thing we don't do is we don't make the jerky, and we don't do the sausage and stuff. You take that back to your house and you do that shit. But we get everything all processed right there. And last year, Christ, we had in 2 weeks, I'm going to say 13 deer, maybe. And we probably had them all processed in about 3 days. So it's, we got quite the operation going.
Yeah, all
Cool.
the ones I got, I always had somebody else process them. I didn't know how to do it for one thing. I didn't want to fool with it for the other. Figure for $35, let somebody else do all the work.
Yeah, well, if you can find somebody that's still doing it for $35, yeah, they can do it.
Well, that's been a few
Around here,
years.
I think the average price is about $75.
It may be here now. This is last time I had one processed, probably 6 years ago. I don't know what they are now.
So do y'all do your own like summer sausage and stuff, or are you talking about just like regular sausage?
For us, now once we start processing it, we just a real quick recap. Of course, you take the back straps off, the straps that run on the inside, like around where the diaphragm would be, that run along the backbone on the inside of the rib cage. We take those off. Those are steaks, and then we usually take the front shoulders. The front shoulders usually go mostly for burger. The backs we'll do, if it's a big enough deer, we'll do some burger. Most of it, well, not most of it, but roast and burger, kinda. But we also throw a couple of the fillet steaks in there off the rear ones, if it's a big enough deer. But once we get it back to the house, like we'll turn it into burger while we're out at the farm, and then once we get to the house, if I want to make jerky or if I want to make summer sausage, yeah, that's where we do it. We don't do that stuff out there.
Sorry, typing. Let's see.
That's like what we were talking on the. It's amazing to me that like you, TR, you live in the woods, you have perfect probably deer stomping grounds, deer hunting grounds, and just because you never got into it whenever you were younger, because nobody in your family did it, you would. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm glad that your buddies are, instead of wasting the deer, saying, "Hey, TR, we got this deer if you want to pay for the processing." I can't believe you're not out in the woods.
I could probably deer hunt on my land, but there's so few. I mean, my neighbor a couple of years killed one beside my mailbox, so it's not like they're not here. But I don't know that there's enough for me to, spend the time. I mean, I can bait now, which is something new in the upstate of South Carolina. You could bait in the lower part, but you couldn't bait. But now you can. I mean, it would be worth my while, I guess. But at the same time, I just don't know how many days I'd spend, how many hours I would spend waiting for a deer I may never see.
Right.
On my own property. Then where I live in South Carolina, I'm not down in deer hunting at all. There's a certain amount of public land you can hunt on. And they say, and this is just, I'm just going by what everybody tells me, it is so overpopulated with deer hunters because there isn't that much public land. I mean, I guess there is, but they ain't. I don't know. This is just what I go by. Everybody goes out in the woods, the sun comes up, and every 50 foot, there's a damn hunter in a tree, And then the rest of it has all been bought up, leased out by hunting clubs. So even if you know somebody that owns a cow pasture or something like that, they've already leased their land out to some deer hunting club. Yeah. So then you got to pay a fee for a deer hunting club. So the good land is all bought up and leased out by, not bought up, but leased out by hunting clubs, and it's going to cost you, $400 or $500 a year to hunt. And it just ain't worth it.
Right.
Yeah,
Now, if you got the private land that you can hunt on, I can see it. Most of the deer hunters that do are really good, big on it. They actually go to the lower part of the state, like Fat Man. I think he goes to the lower part of the state. They got I don't know if it's a hunting club or they just know somebody that's got some land and stuff like that. But you'll hear them talk about going to the camp. And I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm guessing it's in the lower part of the state is where he goes because it's a lot more deer down there, a lot more land you can hunt. And I don't know. It's even though we have a long deer season, there's a lot of deer in South Carolina. There's kind of still a lot to it unless you're in the know. And I'm not in the know. I don't know where to go. I could throw some corn out on my land and a few deer just around here, maybe I could get one, but I just don't see it being worth my time. Not especially since I know so many deer hunters I can get meat from them. So
right. And then you're only paying the $70 for the processing fee and you're done and there's no wasted time.
Yep. Don't even have to waste a shell.
Yeah.
But that's kind of making excuses. It's not that I'm against hunting. I used to damn squirrel hunt all the time when I was a kid. Went frog gigging, went rabbit hunting. I never killed a rabbit, but just never did see one. But I see them all the time, just not when there's a rifle in my hand, and but I just never got into the deer hunting just because I don't know.
Rabbit hunting's a lot of work unless you got a good dog.
Right.
The only time I've seen them. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say that's one thing. I went pheasant hunting once last year, and I don't know how to word this right. Well, actually, fuck it, I'll word it the way I want to. The in-laws bought 80 pheasants off of a pheasant farm, and we released them onto their 100 acres, and we let them run around for a while. So I don't want to say it became wild, but it wasn't. You walked up to them and they're looking at you like, we wanted to get them used to kind of predators and stuff so they'd at least fly. And we hit that 2 days and we got a bunch of pheasants. And I think we've had this conversation before, but pheasant, oh my God, that is the best bird I've ever eaten in my life. But if you don't, in this area, if you don't purchase pheasants off of a farm and put them out into your own property, you'll have to walk around for 5 hours to maybe see one bird, and it's not worth it's not worth it. Absolutely not. As far as like rabbits and stuff, we could go out rabbit hunting, but we like Dawn said, it's same damn thing. You don't have a good dog, you're chasing that damn rabbit just hoping that you see it. And it's turkeys out there. That's one thing I've never done. I've never ever turkey hunted. But the only reason I've never turkey hunted is I believe full-heartedly in if you kill something, you eat it. And wild turkey, I've heard, is nasty. And I don't even want to try it. So
I don't even care for regular turkey at Thanksgiving. I'll eat a little bit for Thanksgiving, and that's about it for me with turkey. I just ate so much of it growing up. I really don't like turkey. But pheasants, we used to be Michigan just used to be swarm with pheasants, but man, you hardly ever see them now. Every once in a while you'll see one, but not very often. They even tried to, they brought this Chinese pheasant over here. It's a little bit smaller than the ringneck and hoping they'd crossbreed and stuff. I guess it works in some areas, but it never really, pheasant season's just gone anymore. Mm-hmm. Unless you got a good dog to really pick up trails and stuff, because there's just not that many.
I went back. Christ, I couldn't have been any older than 16, maybe. That's the only time I've ever rabbit hunted, but that's because I had a buddy whose dad trained rabbit dogs, and they're nothing. I couldn't believe that shit. You'd kick a rabbit, the dog would take off after it. It would make a circle. Maybe a 40-yard perimeter circle, and the damn thing would almost come right back to where it started, and it was like boom.
Oh yeah, you get a good beagle, you get them on and they're fun to watch and listen to.
Mm-hmm.
I know when I was growing up, we used to go down south every down to Missouri down every fall and quail hunt. And somebody made a comment about quail. Hey, you want a fun hunt? Those are, you get in a covey of them and they just go in all directions. Just
Now, are the quail the smaller birds that have the little white?
Yeah, bob white quail. Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a few of them around here. I was sitting out, went back several years ago out at Duran Sportsman's Club when I belonged out there waiting for a silhouette match to start. I heard it. What the heck? It was a bob white quail, man.
Yeah, it's one. I've never done that either. I'm up for eating any bird. I'm chicken, turkey. I don't care. I'll eat it. Christ, if I could get a robin without destroying it, I'd probably eat that too. I love the taste of bird, except for turkey, like wild turkey, farm turkey, good. Yeah, everything else now.
The only bird hunting I haven't never done is duck and goose hunting, but I can't stand them. They're just way too greasy tasting. I never had one to go out there and sit on a lake or a pond or something, wait for them, you know.
The only time I ever wanted to go duck or goose hunting was right after Duck Dynasty came on TV first. Whenever that came on, I was like, man, I'm going to try that. Those guys are awesome, and they seem like they know what they're doing. Well, not know what they're doing, but it was just like, that's pretty damn interesting. But I've never done that. So there's Calms. Howdy, sir.
Yeah, I think he said he's already got a deer this year. At least one, I think. Calms Prepper, that is.
See, now I'm hungry. Damn
it. Yeah, let's don't talk about food.
Usually end the chat maybe talking about food, not starting off talking about it.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute, I got a crack. There we go. Had to crack my beer, and I don't know why I could say it, but it didn't want the sound to go over the mic. But in PA, they just it's not happening this rifle season, but starting next rifle season, they've opened it up to allow semi-automatic rifles. So that's going to be interesting. I know out at the farm, the old man, he's already. We talked about it, and I'm in complete agreement with them. Even if the state's allowing us to use semi-auto rifles for deer hunting, they're still banned out at the farm. We're not going to use them.
Any particular reason?
My biggest thing is, and it's not that I want to say that I'm a safety Sally, but I kind of am, and I can see if you have a semi-automatic rifle shooting a deer. I mean, I'm not talking like bird hunting, rabbit hunting. I'd be okay with that, with using a semi-automatic shotgun, no big deal. But for like a deer rifle, like I'm just gonna say if they say the AR-15, the 223 is a round that we're allowed to use, I can just see some of the people, boom, 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 just mowing across, and not looking up. Whenever, at least if you have a lever action, a bolt action, or a pump action, there's that little delay to where you're taking in the surroundings. So when the deer moves, so what I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I agree with his decision, and we kind of, I talked to him about it, and I was I'm not against anybody else doing it, and if I was by myself somewhere, I wouldn't have an issue with it. But even going through the different training that I've done and all that other stuff, I can still see myself getting a little excited. And if it doesn't drop, and especially with a 223 round, which I don't know if that's going to be a round that they would allow you to hunt with, but other states do. But it's not a knockdown round. You know what I mean? I mean, you might be able to hit it 2 or 3 times before there's even any effect. And it's like, man, you're going to Swiss cheese the hell out of stuff.
Oh, well, yeah. I could see if somebody had an AR, they might want to unload. I was thinking more like, what is it, the Remington Woodsmaster or something like that. there's semi-automatic like 243s and 308s, and
Mhm.
it looked like it's got a flush mount little 3 or 5 round magazine. I guess that's what I was thinking of. I wasn't thinking AR for some reason.
Yeah, if it was, I mean, I can just honestly say, and this is from my own experience. I mean, if anybody ever, well, this was last year whenever I did the pheasant hunt. Even with the shotgun, just because I'm used to shooting shotguns that have no mag restrictions in them, and with the way our hunting is up here, you're limited to three rounds in the shotgun. And I'm like, or boom, 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 and I'm still following these goddamn pheasants. Click, 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 click. And I just kept, and it's just, I guess it's more of a preference thing. I mean, I can't see. I'm sure that with the semi-auto round or rifles, once they come in, that they're going to put restrictions on magazine capacity. And I can't see them saying, "Oh yeah, take a 30 round mag out of 308 or 243 or something like that." But I haven't seen the actual bill yet, so
Yeah. Yeah. I ain't saying you're wrong for doing that. I was just questioning. The only probably I could see as a safety issue, probably more than the worried about somebody spraying and praying. You pop a deer and you forget another round's chambered in your gun, and you go climbing down a deer stand with a live round in your gun, and you didn't put it on safe yet.
right. Yep.
And I really don't trust rifle safeties anyway. So from a safety point, I could see that pretty good.
That's since we're on shit. My gun's upstairs getting ready for tomorrow, but I have the Savage Axis 243, and to kind of give you the real quick part of it, get my hands up here, right? The safety, like if this is your trigger finger, so the stock's going back into your shoulder, the safety is a thumb switch on the top, not a switch, but it's like the whole plate of the top of the gun, and you push it up, and that's your safety. I'll tell you what, I have kicked that off so many times by accident, and it's just because like whenever I'm walking through the woods or something, once your one arm gets tied, because you don't ever put it, use a sling and walk through, because by the time you see a deer, take it off. So I usually carry it in my left hand and then just bring it up and go. But my left hand after a while gets flipping tired, so I'll put it in my right hand, but I'll keep my hand kind of wrapped around where the trigger, it's fingers not in the trigger or anything, but it's in that area, the trigger mechanism and everything, so that if you bring it off your shoulder and you come down, you just have to move your finger down. And I found a lot of times, because of where the safety is, just because of walking back and forth, it'll work it loose and it'll go on to fire. I found that, God, so many times. And it's, I've tried mentally to get myself to quit carrying my gun like that, but I've just become so used to carrying my old rifle that way that it's, I don't want to say muscle memory, but I mean, I'm trying to break that, and it's taken me a while.
Yeah, somebody put out there, what's your favorite deer cartridge? Here in Michigan, 30-30 30-30 and 30-06 are probably the two most popular here in Michigan, especially the 30-30.
Yeah, I'd say that's about the same here. I've got to get rid. I'm not going to get rid of that 243 without a doubt. I'm not. But where we hunt at, you need a brush gun, like you're saying, the 30-30, something like that, because that 243, it's almost, if you're in an open area, no issues. But trying to penetrate brush, even a little bit of brush, it seems like you're kind of screwed. That 300 that I had, holy balls! If I shot, the deer dropped right there, but there went half your meat.
Yeah, I'd say even though most people use bolt actions now in South Carolina, there's really no reason to use anything more than a 30-30, because seeing how the woods look like where you hunt, Blue, that would be a clearing around here in the woods. I mean, it is thick.
No shit.
I'm not saying it's all that way, but have you ever seen any videos of me out in the woods and stuff? I mean, it's just trees and brush and underbrush and all that. I mean, if you got a 100-yard shot, you'd have to you must be on a farm or something where there's a clearing. You know what I mean? If you was just in the woods, yeah, you 50 yards probably about as far as you're gonna see. As far as you could get a shot off. I mean, I'm just going by what me growing up in this area. If you was actually in the woods, unless there's a road cut or, like I say, is a farm and there's some roads cut or whatever, fire breaks or a power line, you're not gonna get a long shot anyway. So.
I'd say the average shot here, especially in northern Michigan, is probably anywhere from 50 to 100 yards.
Yeah, that's pretty standard here, except for the out there we have the farm fields that we cover sometimes, and that's I don't know, that's why I have the 243, even though I've yet to take a field shot. But it's I don't know my calibers that well, but I was told that it's the in-between gun of your flat shooting gun for wide open spaces and a brush gun, which I definitely don't agree with the brush gun. I think that whoever told me that was, I don't want to say full of shit, but damn close to it.
Probably the best flat shooting cartridge that I've ever used, and I've got one here, is the 270.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 243 ain't nothing to sneeze at, but it is a small caliber. Yeah, the first little probably said it 6 inches one way or another. But it's not like it's not a powerful cartridge. Hell, it's a 308 neck down to a 243, so it's got a lot of powder behind it. Yeah, I wouldn't say that nobody said anything about, hey, Code Boy 32. We can hunt with 223 here, but that wouldn't be my caliber of choice by no means.
No, and the only reason, I mean, shit, we're live. Never mind. I was going to say something about something I may or may not have shot with a 243 that may or may not have acted like it was hit till the second or third shot. But I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. The 223.
Yeah.
It's just, it does what it needs to do.
In South Carolina, as far as I know, unless they've changed the rules, the only thing you can't hunt with is a rimfire. You can kill a deer with anything as long as it ain't a rimfire. And it can't be full metal jacket.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only restrictions that I know of. Now, if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. That's just the last time I looked. So.
I think we can use 22 rimfire. I think we can use those for squirrel, and that's it.
Yeah, small game. We can use that. I was just talking about deer. Yeah.
Mm.
Damn stump breed. 243 is a damn fine round. It just sucks if it gets hit by a damn gnat in flight.
Right. Yep, that's the way it is.
I actually seen, because sometimes they say that's just a theory that the bigger calibers are not as good in brush, that that's a falsehood. But I actually remember reading a long article back before the internet, and they did a test. It's like a guns and ammo magazine article. And they set up dowel pins in a piece of wood with a target on the other side. And sure enough, as they got bigger in caliber, they would deflect less and less. And of course, the one that won out hands down was the 45-70. It blew through and it opened the group up, but it still had a pretty good group, through all those damn dowel pins. But yeah, of course, the smaller calibers, it would throw them way off.
Yeah, 45-70. You talk about a brush gun, that's a monster there. That's a lot of lead going down range.
Small trees, no problem. Just shoot through it.
I guess here in Michigan, the lower part down in Zone 3, I guess they opened it up to straight wall cartridges for rifles this year. Where before it used to be on shotgun only or handgun, with straight walls. But I guess they opened it up for like your carbines and stuff like that in straight wall cases.
Yeah, because I mean, if you got a 44 mag or 357 rifle, I mean that's adequate. .45 70 is like a damn D6 in the woods. Small trees don't matter. It's the damn truth. Yeah, 400 or 500 grain bullet flying out through there.
So
anything else we need to talk about?
I got a question. I got a question for you when you guys get ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been thinking, what you guys is feeling on? It's going to be a little bit of politics about Petraeus being nominated for the Secretary of State with his past record. It just seems to me, he got indicted for letting his biographer or whatever, his girlfriend, see some classified material and stuff. And of course, they indicted him and all that stuff. But yet, he admitted to it. And I don't know what his prosecution was, whether evidently not a whole lot other than resigning. But it just seems like I don't think it's a real good idea to have somebody like that as Secretary of State. I mean, we had Hillary and she did all her stuff. I just want your opinion on it.
Yeah, well, it was about to make her president, and she made Petraeus look like a Boy Scout. So, but I agree with you. But at the same time, Romney's up for that position too, unless I hadn't heard something that happened today. And I really don't like Romney. So
I don't like Romney. It's just the thought of him being indicted for, letting classified material be seen. It's just, I guess it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. He probably, I guess, for as a soldier, I guess he's outstanding.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Go ahead, Blue.
I was going to say I haven't caught anything for the last week and a half, so I didn't even know about this. But whenever Trump was so gung-ho on Hillary Clinton with these emails and shit, that's a fucking huge mistake if you're putting somebody into that position who's already been indicted.
Well, that's kind of my thinking on it. Why is he doing this? They raised such a stink. Granted, Hillary's was a lot more serious than his, but
yeah, that's. I don't know the guy's record. I don't know who he is. I haven't done any research, but that's fucking stupid.
It just seems to stink to me a little bit.
I think, and I've seen some people talk about this on some different videos, that Trump's kind of trolling the news and the media with all the people he's talked to. That just because he's talking to somebody and they're up for a position doesn't necessarily mean that. I'm not trying to defend him, but he's already been doing it. You can see it, because he talks to several people. Like, oh, these are the people that I want to talk to about this position. And there'll be one or two people in there that's like, what the hell? So I don't know if he does it for sensationalism. Is he doing it to try to look like he's got an open mind, or maybe he does have an open mind and he may let some rhinos in, and he probably will and should, to kind of ease the Republican Party and Trump, because the Republican Party turned their back on him. Now they're trying to save face and, we've got to work together. So, the whole deal it's a whole different situation. So I don't know, but I do agree with you. You can't be telling Hillary that she should be in jail and then pick a guy that actually got charged, with secret information. So You know, I don't know.
Smith and Wesson put Petraeus is also anti-gun. I heard that the other day that he's anti-gun too. I don't know.
I hope he picks somebody that's just middle of the road, maybe damn near unheard of. That's what I would rather. Not that I would want it to be somebody you could find out who they are, but maybe you shouldn't pick people that's, you know, like known. You know, let's pick some new blood. You know.
Somebody here on Gimp Geek said he agreed. He's thinking John Bolton, which he's in the top 5. What I seen the last I seen, Romney, Petraeus, Bolton, Giuliani or whatever he is from New York. I can't remember who the other one was.
Yeah, I think he's just, and I've seen a bunch of people just going off on Trump because he talked to Kissinger. And it's like, he just talked to him. It don't mean he's putting them in any kind of damn position, you know, just because Kissinger wanted to talk to him. Well, Kissinger's a big player in fucking DC. So what? You know, I mean, I talk to people I don't fucking like all the time. That don't mean I'm going to do anything about it. You know, I was like, okay, how you doing? Blah, 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 you know. So we'll see.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up. It's just,
no, it's a very good point. Very good point. And it's valid. I already knew. Yeah, I knew exactly what as soon as you said Petraeus, I knew where you was going with it. and I'm sure there's a lot of people that'd be worse, but I think it would be better to pick somebody and not look hypocritical. Same thing with Romney. I don't think you should pick Romney just because it would really to me, it looked hypocritical, you know, because they bantered back and forth and tweets and blah, blah, blah. And then you pick them as a big cabinet position. Now, I wouldn't do that. I'd pick somebody else.
Sticking on kind of politics stuff, have you guys heard anything with the vets that were headed out to the oil pipeline? I heard like 2,000 of them showed up, but like I said, I'm so in between things right now. That was one thing I was interested in catching up on, but I haven't yet.
I don't know the numbers. I have heard that there's some showing up, and I've been at work the last couple of days, so I hadn't had a chance to really dig into anything except just a few minutes here and there. And I could be wrong. I think everybody's got it wrong on the pipeline. We talked about it a little bit. Me and Matt talked about it a little bit Thursday night, I think. Yeah. Or Friday night. Thursday night or Friday night. I forget. And I think it's another lost cause. It's something they're making a big hoodoo about nothing and trying to make it a cause that's not really that worthy of it. You know, I mean,
it's one of those deals where it technically really doesn't matter unless the pipeline ruptures underneath that lake.
Yeah, and it's not. There's pipelines already across that freaking river.
Oh, is there?
Yes. It's not like it's going to be the only one. There's already several across it, and supposedly, I hadn't found it yet, but supposedly from firsthand information, not firsthand to me, but firsthand to Matt, that reservation that's raising so much hell about it has a lake. The lake they're talking about has an oil well in the fucking middle of it.
In it.
The pumper in the middle of it on the island.
It'd be.
I hadn't been able to prove that yet because there's so much information about that. It's hard to, because every Tom, Dick, and Harry is trying to make a name for herself on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. When you do searches, all you find is we need to protest. We need to protest. We need to protest. So it's hard to weed through that. It's like you're having to step over all that to get to the real truth. Damn it, I had the name on the railway. This is one story, and it probably makes a lot of sense. they're talking about here. Just put it in perspective. How many times have you heard about a railway, a train wreck, you know, a derailing or whatever, compared to a pipeline bursting? I'm thinking more. You hear about trains wrecking, you know, that's not like a real common thing, but more than a pipeline. Well, all that oil that's being moved now that they want to run through the pipeline is on a train. So if you're really worried about the environment, you would want the pipeline because that's a safer, more economical, less dangerous environmentally to push it through a pipeline than to push it on a train. Because right now it's all being trained. And damn it, I wish the name is on the tip of my tongue. It's a big name. It's not Kissinger, but it's something like that. Has a big part of that railway. And they're one of the ones that's funding the fucking protest, paying people to protest because they want it to be shipped on their trains instead of in the pipeline.
Now, I saw something out in the chat room where if somebody said if they saw it right that the pipeline was actually going to be 92 feet and then across. Now, I'm not a smart man. I'm not all into science and all that shit. But if the pipeline were to rupture 92 feet under a body of water, wouldn't gravity, even though it's still underwater, push it back down to where it originally came from? And
well, oil float on water, so it would have to breach the surface. But if it's like damn near 100 foot under the water source, it would have to bubble up through it.
You'd have to go along, which is possible. I mean, it's definitely possible.
And at the same time, we're talking about how many hundreds or thousands of miles this pipeline is, and we're talking about a small section going over a lake. I mean, not a lake, a river. You know, it's in case it busts right here. Out of the 1,000 miles, it's going from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico. Unless it busts right here, this one spot, a couple hundred feet, whatever. You know, out of all these miles and miles and miles from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico or wherever it's going, and we're all worried about this a couple hundred feet. It just don't, none of it adds up. There's people being paid to protest. There's money on the line. There's money backing it. And it's just like the Bundy thing, the other standoff that was whatever. That's what me and Matt was talking about. It's like all these standoffs, I hadn't been behind not one of them. When the right opportunity arises that, hey, this is where the government went too far, I'll back it. I may even join it. Hell, I may pack my shit and move up there and be part of it. But so far, I hadn't seen that event take place. Mm-hmm. And I think people are so eager for damn near a revolution that they're jumping on these things without looking into the whole picture. They're just looking for an excuse. Just like Black Lives Matter, Occupy Wall Street, this bullshit over the election. People are just, it's different people, different from different backgrounds for different reasons, or just looking for a reason to protest. That's just the way I see it, you know. Wrong reason, wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Matt's dug up that some of the pictures used that are being flown around about this kid got hit, you know, bit by a dog. And I'm not saying every damn picture, every video, whatever. I'm just saying some of them. There's a lot of fake, and this is, yeah, I hate to even say this, there's a lot of fake bullshit going out there. Because some of the stuff that Matt's dug into it a lot deeper than I have. Some of the pictures are from something a couple of years ago at a whole different freaking event. Didn't have nothing to do with the pipeline, but they're using that, put it on some kind of headline, make a little story up, and this is what happened. I mean, even some of the abuse they're saying the police are doing. Hell, the protesters was actually attacking the fucking police officers on horseback, and it's like they retaliated.
Mhm.
Okay, well, you've fucking attacked cops. They're going to fucking retaliate. I mean, what the fuck?
It didn't CNN. I just saw that come across something earlier today. CNN just got whacked with using a picture from like 2 years ago. It was like from 2010. It wasn't even a few years ago. It was 6 years ago. The same thing you're talking about, where they used a picture of a protest or something that happened at a protest, and it was from that long ago. And somebody was like, "Oh bullshit, we're calling you out on that," and they got whacked for it. But there again,
Yep.
CNN and any news broadcast, I mean, you pump out the information, and then once you get called out on it, it's like, well, this was the information we were supplied, that they said that this picture came from, this rally, and we apologize for it. I mean, there's nothing about investigative media anymore to where they actually get the correct story. They just throw it out, and if it hits the wall and sticks, we're good to go. And if somebody calls us out, it's somebody else's fault. That's what that person said. Investigative journalism, I guess, is what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, that happens all the time. And then if they do a retraction, it's so short, show so little. Especially if it's in a newspaper, the retractions are damn near on the last page on this little corner down here about that big. They could do a whole big story and blow everything out of proportion, then they do a retraction 3 days later, and it's that little paragraph on page 7B or something.
Yeah.
Like I said, anybody that's for the Dakota pipeline, if you really believe that that's all wrong and all that, okay, you're welcome to your opinion. But as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a bunch of bullshit. If you look at the maps of all the damn pipelines in America, this one that's not even on the damn reservation, the pipeline is not on the reservation. It's miles up from the reservation. There's already pipelines across that damn river. It's all bullshit. What I've been trying to dig into, and I don't mean to put words in Matt's mouth, but what he was insinuating or talking about was that and they did come up with agreements. The reservation came up with agreements, and then all of a sudden they decided they wanted to protest. There was damn near 300 fucking meetings about this, and then they stopped showing up, waited till the pipeline was being dug and put in and all that, and then all of a sudden decided, oh wait a minute, we're protesting. It's all bullshit. I mean, even the stuff I found, if you dig into it, it's a bunch of load of bullshit. All it is. And I just don't agree with it.
Now, do you think that the population? See, I'm ignorant to the whole pipeline thing. I'll admit that up front. But do you think that the majority of the population, and I'm talking the college age kids, which always seem to want to jump on some bandwagon, are just seeing this oppression against the Native Americans, and we're going to stand up for them because we've pushed them out of their land, we've pushed them onto their reservations, and now we're pushing pipelines through their reservations, which could harm them. And this is the only land that I'm going to say the word Indians, but that's the only land the Indians have. I mean, that's kind of what I'm seeing from what I'm catching. But there again,
that's got a lot to do with it. But it's the whole thing. Even they'll say it's not that it's on their reservation; it is a threat to their water supply. But I mean, pesticides in farming, just like Matt said, pesticides in farming going into the water supply is way more harmful than the potential leak of a pipeline. The pesticides and all the chemicals that farmers put out is a constant fucking runoff in our water supply. Pipelines is a potential leak. Might as well outlaw cars, because I may potentially run into somebody at a red light and hurt somebody. So maybe we should outlaw cars. You know, that's the logic I see out of it. It's a potential, possibly. And I've seen people say, oh, look, there's been 200 damn leaks in the last 10 years in pipelines. Well, if they've only had 200 leaks in freaking 4,000 days, that's not that bad of a damn thing. It's not that big of a threat. Out of 4,000 days, you had 200 leaks. That's a pretty damn small percentage.
Yeah. And if you want to get down to it, we have a small ass, like I said, small ass area that we cover. And every now and again, I get to see a zoning report. Imagine how many freaking sewer pipes, which are supposed to be hitting sewer lines to get that shit out of the area and not in your ground. Guess how many of them are so blocked off with roots going through it that aren't touching the sewer line anymore, and all that human waste is going right into the ground. So, and that's on a small clustered residential area. Yeah, I mean that's nasty. I think I need to start a protest about that. Get your damn laterals fixed. But I mean, but there's tons of them. I mean, tons of them. And if every day your quote unquote wastewater is going into the ground, you know, is that harmful? Thing about it. And that's probably every city, every little community, everywhere.
The Redneck Prepper says, but how long will it take to clean up, TR? Well, now, every leak doesn't necessarily mean that millions of gallons spilled out. It was just a leak. If you own a car, if you've ever worked a tractor, if you ever worked on machinery, if it's got hydraulics, a engine, have you ever seen a drip underneath it? That's a leak. And it's the same thing with a pipeline. A leak might have been, oh, we got a seepage here that we got to repair. You know, it leaked out, 50 gallons of fucking oil or whatever before they caught it. You know, it's not like some massive. When I said they were 200 leaks, that didn't mean the pipe busted and freaking millions of gallons of oil come out. It was just a leak. Now, your definition of leak could be different, but I'm not saying it's bad. But but we live in a oil society, and I'm not saying they should be responsible and have to make sure this stuff is safe. And if there's a problem, take care of it. But how long have we been using cars and tractors in America? I don't know that it's a bad thing to have new pipelines instead of the ones that's how old that we're using. I mean, since we've been using cars and tractors and shit for 100 years, I'm pretty sure there's some old fucking pipelines that need to be replaced.
And we're not talking a catastrophic event to where the whole side of a pipeline blows out, because that's probably relatively rare. It's like what TR's saying, you have a small crack, a small hole, and it seeps in. But once the numbers start coming back and say, hey guys, we're losing oil somewhere, let's start checking. I think that I think even the DEP and all those other organizations are pretty much on their ass to make sure that they find it quickly and get it resolved. But, there again, it hits a water supply, especially a river that flows a long way. I mean, that's devastating to a very widespread area instead of a localized leak. I can see the concern there, but what was that? The Exxon Valdez that didn't see Alaska floating there in front of them, and they kind of ran into it. Fucking Alaska just popped up and boom! Damn it! How many gallons? That was a lot. That was a while ago, though. I don't remember the stats on that. That was a long ass time ago.
Well, look at that. What was it? The Colorado River here back early summers that the EPA dumped all that crap into that one river out west.
Yep. Did anybody ever end up getting whacked for that?
I never really heard any more about it.
Yeah, that's one of the stories that was like, holy shit, and then it just went under the carpet.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the government had, or the United States government had control of that. That's why nobody got whacked for it.
Well, that's it. The EPA. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm against pollution. I don't want pollution. I don't think we should be loose on pollution. But at the same time, there's a lot of hypocritical shit going on, and I think this pipeline is one of them. And it is no reason for everybody to get all up in arms that it's not like they said we're going to dump all this oil in their drinking water, siphon it out, and then pump it on by. You know, no, it's just saying a potential. This could leak into our drinking water. Do you know what's in your freaking drinking water already? I mean, come on. It's just so hypocritical. It's just bullshit. I call bullshit on it.
Yeah. All those chemicals, that, like you said earlier with the farms, all those damn chemicals that the government's giving you to put on your crops eventually seeps into the ground and you're re-drinking it.
Well, look at all the lead up here in the Flint River, up here in Flint. The problem they had when they switched from the pipeline in Detroit and went back to their old water supply there in Flint. Now it's contaminated with lead. And my great granddaughter, she's got high levels of lead in her blood. And she's 3 years old now, I think.
Now, are you versed enough to, because I saw that story and I heard about the high levels of lead, but are you, like, has the family spoken to you about what the potential issues could be with her because of the higher level than whatever's considered as normal?
No, they, well, child protective or whatever the medical thing is up in that area, they said it's not high enough to create a whole lot of problem, you know. It's just elevated. But I guess they've got it down. I don't know how they're treating her with it or whatever, but they've got the level down some too. But yeah, they still got a mess up there. I mean, I guess it's getting better, but still trucking water up there to them folks up there. I've lived in the Flint area. Well, we moved to Flint in '63. And where that water plant is, one of the water plants, you could see this white foam. And for years, that river's been polluted. I wouldn't even fish in it. You know, I used to go fishing around there, but I'd never fish in the Flint River, let alone eat the fish out of it. I always thought that river was unsafe. And then Flint wanted to save some money and did away with the pipeline from Detroit. And now they got themselves in a real mess. Of course, the government's having to bail them out on it.
Like I said, I need to do some. I want to do some more research on it, you know. And I'm not trying to burst people's bubbles or say it's not a just cause or anything. It's just much ado about nothing to me. People keep picking the wrong causes to fight for, and I just can't get behind it. Of all the atrocities happening in the world and in America, it's like these obscure, freaking self-made problems or people want to rally behind, and it's just ridiculous to me. I just don't get it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I look at things too fucking deep. I don't know.
See, and the stuff on the national level, like that pipeline, it doesn't really, I mean, it doesn't affect me close to home, of course. But the thing that's got me pissed off is all of a sudden, I don't know what the hell is going on, but we have issues with this atheist movement sweeping the whole northwestern Pennsylvania area that are wanting to get rid of donated benches, marble benches, nativity scenes on county grounds. And man, they are hitting the shit out of us this year. And it's like, what the hell? Why has this bench in honor of World War II veterans, because it says, I don't know the exact phrase, but it has the word God in it. May God watch over our vets or something like that. because these atheists are like, well, that just represents the the soldiers that believed in God. Why that needs to be gone. In the nativity scene in front of the courthouses and stuff, it's county property, and it's been up there for hundreds of years, and all of a sudden they can't do it, or they're starting these federal lawsuits to get rid of them. I know that shit has hit the big cities and all that, the bigger, but it's spreading. And this religious, oh Christ, I don't know the right word. It's not acceptance, but tolerance. The religious tolerance is not a goddamn tolerance. It is, we're wiping it out. You know what? Religious tolerance, as far as I'm concerned, is by all means, if the government, I don't care if it's local or feds or whatever, if they have "In God We Trust" on federal currency, if you have that big of a freaking issue with that, number one, don't spend our money. Number two, let the federal government come out and say "In God We Trust" or whoever you believe in on the bill, so that it covers everybody. But as far as this, oh man, it's really pissing me off because they're pushing a lawsuit to remove this bench. You know what? If it is actually about religious equality, tolerance, whatever you want to call it, let them have that bench that says, may God protect our veterans of World War II, and it has the local people listed on it. Let them keep that. And if the atheists are that upset about it, instead of starting this lawsuit, you know what? Donate another bench to put down that looks just as nice, that says whatever, so that if you're from that belief system, you can sit on that bench or look at that bench. Or if you're, of a Catholic or a God, a religion, you can look at the other one or sit on the other one. I just don't understand. It's not tolerance. There is no religious tolerance in this country anymore. There's not allowed to be anything open in the public. I don't want to say the public, but there's nothing allowed to be open on government land. And I don't agree with that. I really don't.
I'm agnostic, and somebody's religious belief does not offend me. And as far as I'm concerned, in America, you have the right to be offended. If you don't like it, suck it up and move on. I don't care. A bench that says, or my dollar bill that says "In God We Trust," that don't offend me. I mean, I'm not atheist. I'm agnostic. So that means I believe that there might be there's something out there. I just don't know quite what it is. But regardless, you have the right to be offended in America. If you're offended, so fucking be it. You're offended. Unless somebody punches you in the mouth, get over it. You ain't got to like it. It can piss you off. That's fine. The KKK can march down Main Street. You know what? It's their right to do that. And if it offends you, which it would, I don't agree with them whatsoever. It kind of offends me what they're fucking doing. But you know what? It's my right as American to be offended, but let them do that.
Yep.
I don't see no damn difference in
it. Yeah. And that's just it. I mean, I actually, I wanted to travel. It's not a large distance, but just to get my point across, I wanted to travel to where that bench was and take a picture of it and like do one of them split photos to where you put, basically if you believe in God or whatever, this is the bench you sit on. And I wanted to put a lawn chair over here with nothing behind it. And if you don't believe in anything, this is your, but there I'm spreading hate, but it's the point of it. It's the point that if you're an atheist, if you're whatever, quit fucking telling everybody else to get rid of this, to be less biased. Spend the money and put a bench up or put a memorial up right next to the other one. It's not that big of a deal. Even I personally would not like if a satanic memorial was put up for any vet. But let's face facts. There might have been vets, or there may now be vets out there that believe in the satanic rituals or satanic worship, however, religion. You know what? They have that right as well. let them put that piece up. Don't make everybody else take their shit down. It's not tolerance at all.
Where they screw up is they read into the Constitution where there's and if I'm not mistaken, it's not really in there. But there's been a implied rule that, there's a separation of church and state.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean can't be religion in state or whatever, or in a, memorial or whatever. But there's no constitutional right. I know this for a fact. There's no constitutional right that says you cannot be offended.
Mm-hmm.
None. There's just not. And so anybody that wants to scream anything about being offended and they need this removed or this undone or whatever, they're standing on hollow ground. That there is no, you're in quicksand. There is nothing to back that up. There's no foundation for that. None. If you're offended, oh well, maybe somebody will give you a sucker and pat you on the fucking head, but there ain't no fucking law saying that you can't be offended.
Mm-hmm.
I'm offended every day I get in my car and drive to work because there's some asshole that pulls out in front of me or whatever, but I can't press charges against them because they're assholes.
Mm-hmm. It'd be nice though. I still think they need to make that a law in every book. Aggravated assholism.
And I don't get it. I mean, people really do think that, it's like the whole religious thing, as far as benches, or especially if somebody donates it. If somebody donates something to the county, state, federal, or whatever, it didn't cost a taxpayer one dime.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. You don't like it, so fucking what? I don't care.
Yep. But you would have to be fair across the board, and as long as it was, I don't want to say tasteful, but tactful. I would, and this is me, and there again, this is where we run into that brick wall of who we are as people. But if I have nothing against gays, I have absolutely nothing against gays, homosexuals, whatever you want to be called. However, in that same park, if the lesbian, gay, I don't know the whole acronym, if that community donated a piece of art, I'm saying art loosely, a piece of art with two men engaged in a act, I'd be highly offended about that and would not want any of my kids to see that. I mean, there has to be, I don't say a lot, there has to be a line of, I don't know the right words.
Well, I mean, there's a difference between being offended and something being vulgar.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got, if it's open, if it's the public can see it, even though there's art out there that shows genitals and stuff, old art, it's different than two men a man and a woman engaging in sex sculpture.
Yeah,
that shouldn't be in a park.
No, and that's, but that's that line where it doesn't have to be gay art, it doesn't have to be heterosexual art, it doesn't have to be, but there's that line where we as people should be able to say, no, absolutely flipping not. If your art that you want to donate is two guys holding hands, what that's not offensive. That's considered art. But once you go from the art to the, like, what word did you use? The vulgar or
vulgar? Yeah.
Once it crosses that line, absolutely. That's, but there was some huge thing, which almost what I'm talking about. And I wish I could remember where it was, to where there was this, it was not a government building, but like a county building, which I know it's the same thing, but a county building or something like that. And they had a Christmas display up or something. And the satanic religious people had a major issue with it. And basically the county said, look, what I'm suggesting, go ahead and you guys submit something that you want placed on our grounds. We have no issues with it. And they did like this 30-foot devil demonic with heads and, heads ripped off and stuff. And I'm like, there's that line, but who decides that? I mean, it should be us. It absolutely should be the whole, and not the whole, California can't decide what happens here in Northwest Pennsylvania.
No,
It
if
should be.
if it's on a city property, county property, a county thing, unless it's federal. If it's federal, you could get into, okay, well, it's got to meet criteria of all this.
Right.
But if it's state or local, any kind of local, state, county, town, community, the community should be able to decide whatever the hell they want. Period.
Mm-hmm.
That is, when you get down to that level, then you get into actual pure democracy. We're not a republic anymore. When it's a state little town that don't even have a freaking mayor, but they do have some kind of committee or commissioners or something like that, or just to say it is a city, like the city of Travelers Rest. There's like 4,000 people in Travelers Rest. Very small city. If they all get up and say, hey, we don't want this, or the majority, so be it. It's their community. They can decide what the hell they want. That don't mean they can stomp on any constitutional rights. But far as something being put on city property, public property, they have a say in it.
Yeah.
Like I said, if a satanic group wants to do a parade or have a march or something like that, so be it. That's their First Amendment right. Let them do it. But now, as far as putting up a nativity scene or whatever, if the majority of the people want it in that little town or city, it's up to them. It's their freaking town. It's their city.
Yep. You probably put that a lot better.
People get all this shit out of whack. They get it all out of whack. They take things too far. They get things obscured. Go ahead.
I was going to say, did you just see, I think it was Tennessee. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of the wildfires. But some state removed To Kill a Mockingbird and Huck Finn from reading material because it said the bad black person word or something. It was like racially curved. It's like, seriously? Have you guys even looked to when these books were written, when the authors were born? This shit is history. It's history. This is, God, it pisses me off beyond any belief that they're removing this stuff based on, what was it? It was a high school kid. His feelings were hurt because it was demoralizing toward slaves.
Mom. One mom.
Yeah.
One mother.
That said that it hurt her son's feelings, high school aged. But it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Those books have been around forever. I hated reading them. I absolutely hated reading them books. But still, it's not the point. I mean, is it time to update the curriculum from what was taught 20 years ago, 30 years ago? Probably, because there's new history. However, why are we erasing history from the school system and saying we're banning this because it says slaves and it says this? You know what? This country had slaves. It did. Did we treat slaves bad? Yes, we did. Yeah, we did. But we've moved up from that. And however, people keep wanting to, hey, do you guys remember back in whatever freaking year it was? Do you guys remember that? When you guys used to hang the black people just because they didn't want to till the fields? No, I don't remember that. I just remember it because of what I saw in a book. That's the only reason I remember that. I'm sorry that happened to maybe some ancestors of yours or some people from the same colony that you were from. It sucked. It should have never happened. It did. We have grown as a community. We've grown as a country, and that doesn't happen anymore. But people are still stuck on that, and it pisses me off.
Actually, the further back you go in history, the more important that it is. I'm not saying what happened 20, 30, 40 years ago is not important too. When you get into segregation and stuff like that, they should be taught. They should. Um, but older history, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, that is more important than what happened 20, 30 years ago. Because history repeats itself. And if we wipe away ancient history, I mean, that ain't even ancient, but we'll just say, as far as America, that's ancient history. If you wipe that away, we're deemed to repeat the same fucking mistakes. And that's what we're seeing. The whole thing with government, it goes from pure democracy to, I forget the exact way it normally goes, you know, to a republic, an oligarchy, to a socialist, to a communist, back to a dictatorship, a kingdom, and then back to a mob rule democracy. It's just a freaking circle. It keeps going. This is humanity's damn problem. So whether or not it's a conspiracy, they don't want you to know history. They've stopped teaching history, or at least most of it. Cause, you know, but anyhow, that's my tinfoil hat shit coming at it. But it's true. They're doing it. Whether it's intentional or not, they're doing it. Just like you said. They're eliminating these books. It was history. We should know about it. We should understand it. You know, it helps us grow. It helps us go forward. But if you eliminate that, and all they know is the last 20 years of history, they don't know shit. Yeah, I hope I wasn't off tangent on that, but but I think history is very important. I think history is probably one of the most important subjects anybody could study. And when I say history, I mean history of everything: economics, wars, civilization, governments. That's more important than anything. That's how our founding fathers came up with the Constitution, because they were well versed in history of governments, of money, of monetary systems, of trade. You don't study what happened in the past 5 years and make your decision. You need to know what happened 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago, and then study what is the pattern, which way worked the best, which way didn't work at all, and then come up with a solution for that. It's no different than building a house. You don't look at what happened 2 years ago. I mean, and that's maybe breaking it down too much, but
no, it makes sense.
There's ways to build things. They don't just come up, hey, you know what? Let's try a whole new way to build a bridge. I mean, sometimes it works, but they still basing it on, you know, okay, this steel girder can handle this because we know we've been using it for 50 years. It'll handle this. We'll use this. We're going to do a new bridge, but we need to know the history of what this can handle. You know?
Yep. Hey, TR, I hate to do this to you, but I got a jet. It's 11 o'clock, and I got to hit the woods. Actually, I got to be up by about 5:45 till 6. So.
Okay, man.
Yeah, I'm going to bail out of here pretty quick myself.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead. Hey, I'll tell you what. We'll go since that'll leave just me here. This is only about 30 minutes short. We've been on about an hour and a half. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. Didn't have a lot of guests tonight. It's just getting the holidays and stuff, so that's all cool. So I'll let y'all do an outro right quick, and we'll wrap it up. How about that?
Works for me.
Start with that guy over there.
Okay, we'll start with the guy with the green bug eyes.
Yeah. You see trees in them eyes, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me, TR. It's been a good chat. And like I said, I ain't got a whole lot going on. The weather's just so crappy around here right now. But I will tell Matt, I'm holding up this Glock 17. You can't see it. Me and this thing went through a battle Wednesday with his trigger. I had to tell him next chat we get on together. I'll let you, that way you can see what I'm talking about. But anyway, thanks for having me.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on, Don. I appreciate it. And Blues, a deer slayer.
The deer slayer is headed back out tomorrow morning. Like I said earlier, if you guys are just tuning in, I got the GoPro. I got the helmet mount. I got a mount that can go on the end of the gun. But I'm thinking tomorrow I'm going to go with the point of view mount from the forehead. So we're going to go with that. Check out the channel. There's a couple more videos right now this hunting season. Tomorrow will be the 5th installation, but we're going to hit the woods and hopefully bag a buck. So great chat as always. I know sometimes I get fixated on a single thing that's local and I kind of go off on that shit, but it just pisses me off because it's not just my community that's seeing this stuff. It's everybody's community. And we gotta, I don't know, we gotta step up. We gotta do something because it pisses me off. But I'm hitting the woods tomorrow for some no internet time, little breathing time. So we'll catch you next time.
Well, good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. And Blue, good luck. And I hope you get a big buck or a big doe. And make sure and share it with everybody. And thanks everybody for coming on. I appreciate it. I know well, my chats are never never thought out to what we're going to talk about. And I know we talked about hunting and stuff there for a little bit, but then we eventually got into some politics. And Blue, as far as you bringing up the scenes and benches and stuff, that affects all of us because it's going on all over the country. So it's not out of the way, So anyway, so thanks everybody, and we're going to cut it off, and we'll see you Tuesday night if you can come by. If not, I'll see you Sunday night if you can make it. So later, everybody.